I pedaled this same hill 30 years ago, getting ready to ride this same bicycle across America, from the Pacific Ocean to the Atlantic Ocean. I guess this is a coming of age story, but it's not about a young person becoming older. It's about an old person getting really old. It's everyone's story, at least everyone that lives long enough. I don't really know who I am now. I retired from teaching. I'm 65 years old, almost. When my dad was the age I am now, he was frail. He hardly ever got out of his chair. When he fell down, it hurt. I could be frail. I wonder how much I've still got left in me. When you get old, everything shrinks. My muscles are smaller than they used to be. My brain is probably the size of a walnut now. The only thing bigger is my stomach. I wonder what new things I can figure out. I wonder if I can make a film with what's left of my brain. Never done that before. That might be fun.
I gotta do as much as I can, you know, as fast as I can, because I am dying. I know it, and I don't mind.
I'm not going to miss him because I feel he's with me.
Well, one day, Hobart came up and he gave me this kinetic chicken, and he said, June, he goes, I made this for you. It's gold out of my teeth.
He was in St. Luke's Manor Rehab Center, waiting whatever we could do to get him back home, hopefully, but he was there, not to his liking.
And what do I find? Emily Elizabeth Hobart Brown, Yock. What to do? Now that was pretty impressionable, because finally I knew what to do. So he wrote me letters and letters and letters for a long time I never even knew about, and so it gave me direction. It was awesome. It was perfect. And it was great because Justin's adoption papers were in here, so I was really happy about that. I'm really happy all of you showed up. I am truly the luckiest girl in the world.
they take their sons out for these, to go hunting and do the rites of passage and stuff like that, with guns and all that stuff. But our dad organizes these pig hunts with spears. People go hunting all boars with spears. You know, I just went back to school the next week or whatever and just realized that my life was not normal. I've never been ashamed of him ever. Not even for a second, so I'm gonna miss him.
This has been going on forever. This is your legacy, and we love you. Everybody that participates in this race, everybody that cares about it very deeply knows that they owe a lot to this man who's sitting up here right now.
The thousands of people who have participated and been glorious spectators for all these years, the thousands of people you touched, Hobart, it's just immeasurable.
Hundreds of thousands.
Thank you so much. And again, if you have not signed the Hobart We Love You card, it is taped to the white band over here. There are all kinds of wonderful colored pens. Go ahead and make sure you give it a sign.
They're making a big card for him. Where is it?
Hey Hobart, what's your favorite craft this year?
Hobart Brown died November 7th, 2007, but I still hear his voice as I read the book he wrote almost 20 years ago. Hobart's book has the simple title, Kinetic Sculpture Racing. It's about how he began these races 40 years ago. It's about the rules of the race. It explains that winning is trivial compared to putting on a grand show for spectators and fellow participants. And Hobart's book is about Hobart, the showman and self-proclaimed hood ornament of all things having to do with kinetic sculpture racing. It's everyone's story, everyone who is fortunate enough to live long enough anyway. But what an interesting turn into a bizarre world this common story took when I began to be accepted by the most delightfully odd people I've ever met. I feel fortunate to have found my new friend Elliot and his full-sized, human-powered Model T Ford. I will never be able to repay Elliot for being my guide in a strange wonderland that seems to keep people young until the very end. I didn't quite fall into a hole like Alice did when she discovered her wonderland. It's more like I was wandering down Main Street in Ferndale, California, looking for the unmistakable window that would tell me I had found Hobart Brown's 19th century house. Some said Hobart was already dead. Some said he was doing fine. Others said he had just suffered a massive stroke and was dying right then. Hobart was indeed dying when I first came by. He was unconscious, not long for the world, but Hobart's caretakers made it very clear he wanted as many visitors as he could get. A long flight of stairs took me into Hobart's world. Even if Hobart could not utter a word when I saw him, his walls were telling me his story. Pictures everywhere. Hardly a square inch on the walls were some work of art or machine or something wasn't hanging or painted. Pictures of a much younger Hobart. Pictures of people who knew Hobart and changed his life while he changed theirs. I met Hobart at his end. Just about nothing in his body worked anymore. but the defiance in his eyes as he was dying was eloquent. It was a playful and young defiance, the same kind of delightful defiance I see in these walls, a life lived on Hobart's own terms.
They didn't like me at all.
So they had to help you? The Coast
They
Guard
had to help
come
me.
get you out?
They had to help me. Wasn't two ways about it. They were going to help me or else.
But you had to go out there and give it a shot.
But I had to go give it a shot. I had to put myself in the bay. Otherwise, they got trucks come back the road and all that.
Was there a crowd? Do you remember?
No, that's the beauty of it. There was no crowd whatsoever. I'm hoping that what I've done is good. I know my dad would have been proud of me yesterday because he gave me the name Hobart, named after Tasmania, or named after Hobart, Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. And so therefore, I was named after Hobart, Oklahoma. Now my dad went to Hobart, Oklahoma with a motorcycle. He told my mother, he said, you want me to marry you? And she said, yeah. He said, well, I got some motorcycle I bought for $3.75. And he said, God, Oklahoma is so neat. And he said, okay, let's go. He took a $3.75 motorcycle and he loaded her on the back and away he went.
You know my dad was from Oklahoma?
No.
From Ida, Oklahoma. He came over the same as Steinbeck's, Grapes of Wrath.
Yeah.
My dad's whole family was in one car.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They came over when he was like 18. So my dad's an Okie. Dust Bowl years.
Well, you learn, see, the race is so Okie, it's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Yankee ingenuity, Okie. In fact, this could be your tribute.
Oh, no, this is your tribute. The whole thing is your tribute. I was so touched yesterday listening out that window. That was something. That was something.
Yeah, I was down on the sidewalk and I filmed you waving out the window. Yeah, it looked really good.
Yeah, she got some good shots of you waving at the crowd, and the crowd is going, Hobart, Hobart. We love you, Hobart.
They don't really love me. They think they love each other. I'm the hood ornament.
You're the hood ornament.
Yeah.
The first time I met Hobart was also the last time I met him. Our paths crossed only briefly. As we talked, Hobart found out I was trying to make a film. I've never seen anyone become so alive. He insisted that he be in the film, even though he knew very well that he was dying. Always the showman. Hobart deserved one of the major networks to have his final say to the world. They filmed him when he was in his prime. But now, here at his end, all Hobart had for his glory was me, a nobody with a camera and no experience whatsoever as a filmmaker. Just an old retired guy, that's all. Hobart kept asking if my camera was on. If it wasn't on, he told me to turn it on. Hobart had a few last things to say to the world. He was speaking for himself, and he was speaking for all of us who know the end can't be too far away. Hobart never wavered in his message for a second. He wanted us to know he was here, that he lived, that he did something. He wanted us to take notice, to think about him, to talk about him, to know that he wasn't just one more of the billions of people who have had a turn being on this planet.
Is the red light mean it's on, turned on?
It's on. It's going.
It's going, good. I was on when I saw you guys. There's my glory.
At the awards ceremony last night, a whole bunch of people were saying nice things about you.
I would have loved to have gone to that.
We would have been filming you if you were there, that's for sure. But Dwayne said some really sweet things about you. A lot of people said some really sweet things.
You know, I gotta tell you his story. He was in an art festival in the festival part, and so he was just a kid that he had talent, and I have a way of recognizing talent. And so I told him, I said, you know, you're really a talented person. And he's the liberal part, and then we got the mechanical part with Ken Byland.
So what's the thing that kept you doing the race year after year after year?
People saying you couldn't do it. You see, I figure that a place to start on anything is a place where they tell you you can't do it. See, I'm going to die, and we're all going to die, but I've got hospice knocking at my door.
Yeah.
And they've got the will. And I may live another 30 years, but my doctor's point of view, I've got only a few days left.
You may surprise them.
I may surprise them. If I do, I see how they told me I couldn't. They say, you gotta die. I say, no, I'm not.
People who take part in the kinetic sculpture races Hobart Brown began 40 years ago are the most delightful bunch of lunatics I've ever had the pleasure of meeting. This is Hobart's legacy. This is what his races look like. The Armored Carp. C-A-R-P carp. It was made by Dwayne Flatmo, who's been building these creations for over 25 years now. Dwayne was even on the David Letterman show and Jay Leno demonstrating some of his smaller creations and playing flamenco guitar with an egg beater. This is me, Ollie Newsom, or as I like to call myself after I've had too much coffee, the Ollie Llama. I'm standing in front of the sand dune that you just saw the armored carp come down. I've been hoping my own peculiarities would help me be accepted by these delightfully odd kinetic people. One of the things a retired person needs to do is find new people for friends. The people you used to work with will be busy when you drop by the old office or campus that was so much of your life for so many years. Just as I was too busy on campus to spend much time with people who retired from teaching before I did. There's nothing to take personal here. That's just how it is. So in the midst of all this kinetic sculpture madness, it has been my great honor to be asked to perform a kinetic wedding. High atop the very sand dune you've been watching kinetic sculptures labor to the top of. I will take this honor as a sign of acceptance in the most whimsical, intelligent, and friendly bunch of artists and engineers I have ever had the joy of meeting. This is the 6th wedding ceremony I have performed for friends new and old. I am indeed an ordained minister, and all of the weddings I have performed are completely legal, including this one. But as you can see from my idea of appropriate religious attire, I am more prankster than real holy man others look to for spiritual guidance. Nonetheless, you are now watching me in my new kinetic role as His Adequacy, the Ali Lama. How is it possible for 4 people to pedal something that weighs almost a ton up a steep sand dune, and then slow it down when it careens toward a bunch of children at the base of the dune? I'll let the guys who built the bus tell you about it. Ladies and gentlemen, Charlie and Peter.
To do all of this work, and to just have it be a machine is one thing, but to add the art component and to make it colorful and add the creativity and the pageantry and the costumes and the whimsy is what really gets the general public's eye. It's one thing for a bunch of gearheads and nerds to get together. You can go to the drag races and watch that, But this is pan-spectrum fun. We cover art, and science and technology all at the same time. If you got a 200-pound rider standing on a 9-inch lever, that equates out to 150 foot-pounds. In low range on these the small sprocket and the large sprocket, the final drive ratio works out to be 26-to-1. So 26 times 150 foot-pounds comes out to somewhere like 3,900 foot-pounds of torque.
Well, the wheel started out as a fiberglass rim with an inner tube from a 300-ton travel lift around it with shielding over that and a rope net over that holding it all together. Didn't work. Brakes are operated by the number 2 pedaler, and there's 4 brakes, 1 on each gear set, and that's all operated by this guy.
To receive an ace, racers and their machines must adhere to an especially strict set of rules. Riders must stay on their machines throughout the entire race. No pushing or pulling the machine through sand or other obstacles. Your feet cannot touch the ground. All of the equipment needed to get race vehicles through every obstacle on the course must be carried on the kinetic sculpture at all times. Sculptures must be propelled, unassisted, into, through, and out of each water obstacle by only the riders on board.
Gearing is the key to the sport. The perfect gearbox or gearing mechanism is the holy grail of kinetic sculpture racing. we struggled to come up with a suitable mechanism to give us wide enough range of gear ratios. You don't need a lot of gears, not a lot of different gear ratios, but you need a wide range between the lowest and the highest. And this is my latest invention here. It's more of a prototype, about half done. And I'm hoping that when it gets 2/3 done, it'll replace bicycle parts, which tend to fall apart a little easier. The machine pivots in the middle. It's just easier to build them that way, so you don't need any actual U-joints and such automotive steering mechanisms. So the whole thing pivots in the middle like an earth mover. And it works like this.
What's one of your memorable failures?
Well, that would be the steering on the 2-ton tricycle. We crashed that one several times. Once in a parade, which was quite a spectacle, but nobody got hurt badly. Once we crashed into a tree during a kinetic race in Ventura, and then we crashed it again on the same spot on the next lap and ran over one of the judges. This light-hearted approach to art, silly fun art, is applicable, I think, to all of us, because in this day and age, between cancer and war and pollution and so on and so forth, daily life, and all the rest of the daily life stuff, between all of those, yeah, we need recreation. We need to laugh. We need to do some silly, stupid things.
Silly, stupid things that aren't really that silly and stupid after all. If you don't laugh and if you don't play, life can be just too hard. People get sick if they don't laugh, and people get well if they do laugh.
Can I look inside the truck at all them gears?
Please do.
All right.
Please do. We got all kinds of gears.
So when you're all done pushing all them buttons,
Yeah.
and moving all them levers, and right there in front of your hand is 3 major buttons.
These are
levers.
my sisters here.
You've got 500 and how many gears?
588 gears.
Per person.
Per person that we can do.
You see the math.
We can't do the math. Remember we tried that before, we couldn't
I remember
do
the
math.
formula. I don't know how that gets there. It was 3x 7x 2x 7x2, and they told me it was 588.
Well, that's a lot of numbers.
That's all I can't. I don't understand it. It's them X's. They mess me up.
Yeah.
That's that multiplication stuff.
Yeah, I know, and I never did that. Never passed the fourth grade.
I just got it
I
started.
had possibilities.
I promised Hobart that I would keep his legacy alive and spread the word on what he has brought into this world. I told Hobart that I would enter the Grand Championship, that I would get my 65-year-old body through the entire race, and that I would mount a camera near me on the vehicle and film the race so others can see what it's like to be in it. That's where we're headed in this film. Me doing all 40 miles of the Grand Championship.
Excuse me, I need to get by.
Do you have a first aid kit? I don't know what I've gotten myself into. And I'm training for this 3-day, 42-mile kinetic sculpture race where we're going to be riding these monstrous vehicles through the sand, taking them out into the sea, up sand dunes, down sand dunes, racing across blacktop. I don't know if I can do it. Well, I'm not going to get in shape by just standing here, I can tell you that. All right, let's keep going.
I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can do it. 3 days, 42 miles, up sand dunes, down sand dunes. I've been working myself to death trying to get ready for this thing, and I don't think I can do it. This is the Pacific Ocean by Eureka, California. 3 days later, this race will end over 40 miles south of here in Ferndale, California. This day will end with some very tired and very sore people. And then tomorrow, they will get up and do it again. And then the day after that, they will get up and do it again. Other obstacles are in store for these racers. Unbelievably steep hills, 20-foot-high sand dunes, long stretches of blacktop. Racers will even take their machines out into the sea. Some of them will sink. In his younger years, Hobart Brown always finished these races, the very races he invented. But even in his prime, Hobart was usually dead last across the finish line. Hobart's machines were art, wonderful art, but Hobart left the serious engineering to others. We're going up the sand dune, and the car broke. Well, not the entire car, but the steering wheel came off in Elliot's hand. We're here in the kinetic lab. The car is being worked on. It's being welded. Parts are being ground. Sparks are flying. And at first I thought, oh no, I'm not going to get my story, the car broke. And then I realized, wait a minute, this is the story. This is our story. And we're going to work as late as, by we, I mean them, because we're working on cameras here, Leanne and I. We're going to stay here as long as we need to get the car fixed, and then we're going to do the course tomorrow, probably. If we don't, then that's the story. But whatever the story is, don't you worry your pretty little head, because we will take you there.
This is a fix to make it through the race.
I'm really concerned about the amount of heat that we're getting out of this welder and being able to get a decent weld.
Yeah, otherwise the jack somewhere in here.
It sure stays lollies. It works again.
The idea was
it's alive again. It's alive.
You're hardly wet! What kind of splash is that? All right.
Here we go! Definitely be proud of this one. Goes too big, totally impractical, 4 pilots, ginormous tricycle. It's the Patriot Act, ladies and gentlemen. A glorious entry. Yes, this machine is creating quite a buzz throughout the course. What grade should we
very, very long. All right, making it look easy. Coming in straight full speed, not even letting up. Give it up for her. Come on, let's go. Oh, and they're stuck. Nope. Nope. So far, so good.
So clear the ramp, please. This is a huge machine. Everybody who does these camera really needs to move, please. And of course, the professor of kinetics. And they got the angle of the wind. Watch out for those tracks. And here comes the next performance. Working its way out of the water.
That's a lot of glory!
Nicely done. Nicely done. Going crazy. Get up the ramp. And here comes
But when it's a small commercialized, someone wants to come up and just wants to come up and play a game with you. You can't just disappear in the crowd. He comes up and wants to engage you if they're not already done something. You are obliged to engage with him and respond to it.
All right. At least you caught us in a good spot. The wind's blowing that way. It's pretty good. We're just following it.
The worst part of the race so far, guys?
Oh, the sand, always sand. Bottom of Dead Man Drop's a little bit abrupt start. Yeah, a little bit. We kind of had a little run-in with I think it was a maple or something.
I think it was an alder.
You think it was an alder?
Uh-huh.
Almost a there, you guys. Miles? How many miles have it been, Billy? 39 miles.
We have a GPS on board, so we've gone 39 miles.
Top of 16 miles.
Let me introduce you to my friends. Back here to my right is Elliot Ness, the guy that built this vehicle. On the front left there, that's Bob, Bicycle Bob. Bob builds things, and off to the right in the orange top hat, that's Adam. Adam is the man. Well, they're all the man. And we're glad you could come today. Well, this is what my quest for post-retirement meaning has come to.
So sorry to hear that.
Yes. I was a teacher for 30 years, gentlemen.
What did you teach?
Psychology, college psychology. And
what does that tell you about what we're doing now? Yeah.
you're all as mad as I am.
How do you feel about that?
I don't even feel
I feel tired about this.
Actually, it was abnormal psychology that I taught mostly.
No wonder he's a natural.
If you're going to teach marriage and family, you should be married. If you're going to teach abnormal psychology, you should be abnormal.
Well done.
There you go.
We appreciate your dedication.
There you go.
Makes perfect sense.
So after 30 years of teaching, I thought, what else is there to do? And here I am.
That's even crazier than anything you've encountered.
Oh, man, here I am.
30 years of teaching abnormal psychology.
On Lolita Hill.
This is even crazier.
This is my post-retirement quest for meaning, and it's going to cost me at least one knee. This is a worsted wool tuxedo, by the way, and it's hot, and it's steep, and there is no top to the hill, and
there is.
Does the name Sisyphus mean anything to you?
Yes, I was just thinking that.
So
Sisyphus will roll by here with his rock any moment.
And when when I get to the top, they'll eat my liver.
I think Sisyphus has been reborn in us.
We're just working up a good appetite.
But it wasn't it Camus who insisted that Sisyphus is happy in his labor? And that part of like the purity of the simple task was the beauty.
Sisyphus is the metaphor for what we're doing.
You saved my life.
It's really hurting now. I mean, like really hurting. The never-ending hill. The hill of death. The hill that is strewn with the carcasses of other kinetic sculpture races. But it will not defeat us.
Then again, it might.
Oh man. What the hell have we gotten ourselves into here?
You know what they do is horses that go lame on the hill, don't you?
This is Lolita Hill, and it goes for at least 100 miles.
You're nice.
I am.
You're just old.
I'm 648 years old, and we're going up Lolita Hill in a 700-pound, human-powered Model T. Is that a false summit, or is that a summit? I don't know.
Okay. We're not done yet.
We're not there. You know, I was thinking the resale on this tux would be about nil when this was over, and I'm pretty sure that is the case now.
Might have to pay a disposal fee for this.
Oh, I see the top of a hill. I salute you, top of a hill. Oh yeah. Oh man, we did it. We did. Oh, hey, we just took off.
Yeah, I just shifted up.
No, I gotta shift up. Keep up with you.
Wait a minute. I need to shift up.
We kicked some butt on that hill is what we did. I'm 648 years old, by the way.
We've heard that. All right, so now here's the question. Why are we out here?
Yeah.
Well, why are we doing this? And the answer is...
I'm ready.
Live life to the fullest of every day as if it were your last. And spend time with friends.
I quit a job a week ago, and here I am. And
You quit a job a week ago?
yeah.
You just sitting up and talking.
Oh, I told other people, but it's awesome. I mean, here I am. I mean, what could be better than this?
Cape Town races half a mile long. Doo-dah. We're delirious is what to do.
That's the whole point, yes.
Yeah, we did it though.
Like a cheese, go straight to the town.
In the water entry, we left the biggest splash probably, I got a Band-Aid on me, the biggest splash that they've probably ever seen.
Don't tell them, Ollie. Show them.
They've already
Don't
seen
tell
it.
them, show them.
They've already seen it. They've already seen it. I already edited that in.
You're wasting film.
No, they've seen the splash. They need to know how we feel about the splash, Elliot.
Come out, whoever you are. It has been fun pretending to be a filmmaker and pointing a camera at all of these thousands of kinetic Peter Pans. This is a world of people who never stopped playing, a world of theater, a world where laughter and whimsy are used to keep the soul young even as our bodies crumble before our eyes. Hobart's life and death are a worthy metaphor for everyone's journey. The moral of this story is that we don't have enough time on this planet to sit marinating in our own angst. The moral of this story is that our short turn at being alive is too brief and too precious to be spent sad. Your turn on this planet isn't over yet. Push your aging body until you are exhausted. Then push it more until you are exhilarated. Be young until the very end. Don't forget what you were. What you were is still in there somewhere. It's showtime.